a theme, touchstone to recognize a standard by which we're recognized. Okay, we know who we are. There's a standard. We talk about the standard all the time. It's not just the way we perform on Sunday, it's how we go about our life on and off the field. We got to take advantage of every opportunity. Seize everything, man. Carpe omnia.
It's week number 7 of this National Football League season, and welcome to another edition of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy inside the Globe Life studio here at the beautiful Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Of course, the bye week for the Cowboys this week, 4-2 through the first 6 games of the season. And I counted it up, Coach, it's been 13 weeks now since the team landed in Oxnard, California for the start of training camp. It's almost cliche that the bye comes at the best time in the season. It is a good time for the bye, isn't it?
I mean, it's always a good time for a bye. Especially gives your football team a chance to heal, number one. And I think anytime you go on 5, 6, 7 week stretches, you definitely, it's a grind. So yeah, this is an excellent time for a bye.
And you said the other day you've kind of broken down the regular season, 17-game season, into trimesters, and you've got these 6 games where you go 4-2, and then the next 6, when you come back, there's 6 games in the span of about 32 days.
It's definitely we enter into the Thursday Thanksgiving mode there. So, but yes, it's important to get these home wins for sure. Starting off with the Rams, and I think just like anything, there's always patterns to an NFL season. I think you need to identify with that. We'll take some time on the return Monday, go through the self-scout of where we are and just the direction as far as the focal points that we really need to hunker down on as we go into the second trimester.
Well, just a huge win over the Chargers last week. And what was the big thing that you were most proud of your team bouncing back last week?
The response. I think like anything in this league, it's so competitive week in and week out. You're going to experience highs and lows. That's just the reality of life in the National Football League. So, but you have to respond, and I thought our team responded very well.
Dak Prescott's such a great leader on the team in times where you're going through adversity, but his play on the field against the Chargers was something else too.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he had total command of the game plan and the position, and I think clearly with the rush, the wide rush of their pass rush, the ability to escape and make plays. I thought he played very well.
How about the run game with Dak on the 4th and 1 play? Great fake, number one, faked almost everybody out, and
almost faked himself out.
and then showed some wheels there.
He can still get to the end zone. Make no mistake about that. And he's very instinctive. Obviously, has a lot of experience. From his college days, and obviously he ran more earlier in his time in the NFL. So, but yeah, he's definitely a weapon for us.
And of course, touchdown pass to Brandon Cooks. He's been such a great addition to this team. Brandon has, and to see him come through in that situation, it was a very well designed play as well, and a terrific throw by Dak too.
Yeah, I mean, Dak just did a great job, buying time with the protection, and just an excellent angle that Brandon gave him. But yeah, it was great to get Brandon involved.
And not to mention Tony Pollard with a pickup block on Derwin James, who was blitzing on the play. And you're looking for opportunities to get Tony unleashed, and things were bunched up in the run game in that game, but the 60-yard pass play was such a huge play in the game. He has such playmaking ability, and trying to figure out how to get the football into his hands is what you're trying to do on a regular basis.
Absolutely. Tony Pollard in space is a huge weapon for us, whether it's out of the backfield throwing the ball, and we had the shot there in the fourth quarter too that he just runs a great route. But yeah, so we just got to keep finding ways to get Tony those opportunities.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of the Mike McCarthy Show. Up next, it's David Moore of the Dallas Morning News.
It felt good. It's been a while, but, at the end of the day, the ball found me. And like I said, great throw by Dak and trusting me. So I'm thankful for sure.
Prescott left side of the end zone. Brandon Cooks caught it. Touchdown. Cooks calling everybody over to help in the celebration.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, is brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Here inside the Globe Life studio, Bill Jones now joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, SportsDayDFW.com. So just how big a win was that for the Cowboys on Monday night? We talked all season long how big that San Francisco game was, but by what happened against San Francisco, that made last Monday's game even bigger.
Yeah, I would argue because of not just the loss to San Francisco, but the magnitude of the loss to San Francisco, that placed a premium on being able to come back in this game against the Chargers. And I don't think it was an easy task. I mean, the hit they took and the wound that San Francisco inflicted on them with that game, I don't think physically and mentally it's easy to work past. And just from a physical component, go back and look at, I think that, opponents that have faced San Francisco were 1-18 the following week. So they physically, they beat you up as well. But so all of that being said, I think there are some crossroad moments in every season for every team. I think because of how it unfolded in San Francisco, that Chargers game, which we didn't anticipate, turned into a crossroads moment for this team. And Dak Prescott spoke about it after the game. Going into the bye at 4-2 instead of 3-3, with all of the questions that would have been piled on that, from what they're hearing from everyone around them, I think that had a potential to fracture what this team still hopes it can build and become. So I think they averted a pretty potentially bad scenario with them responding in that game.
Neither team could run the ball well in that game, but we don't care about what the Chargers do. We care about what the Cowboys are doing in the run game. What's going on with the run game? And that was the second game back where you had all five of your starters on the offensive line.
And two of their worst rushing performances of the year with your projected starting offensive line back. This is an area when they talk about, once they get back from the bye next week to clean things up, this is pretty much at the top of the list on what they need to clean up. They need to establish that run game because now what you've had, the result of that is this team was leading the league in third down conversions through the first 4 games. Now you look at these last 2, they haven't been able to run the ball, and now suddenly these last 2 games they're down at 37.5%, so they're behind the curve in third down conversions. Dak Prescott was the leading, this is all you need to know. Dak Prescott was the leading rusher against the Chargers with 40 yards. They don't want to see him being the leading rusher in any game for the remainder of the season.
All right, when we come back, more with David as we take a look around the NFC East and where the Cowboys stack up through 6 games. When the Mike McCarthy Show continues in just a moment.
Yeah, I don't know if I was about to get sacked there or rather I just moved. I don't think anybody touched me. But was I?
I think you got out of the
I broke a tackle there?
Yeah, you spun out of it.
Yeah, sure. Or I just turned right and came back left. It happens fast.
Now he pulls it back. Now he escapes out to his right. Somebody run for him. Pollard in the middle of the field at the 35. Up to the 40. He broke away to the 40. Pollard's taking this all the way. Oh, no. At the 15-yard line.
Tony doing a great job of getting open, finding the window. As I got out, I saw some grass in front of me to potentially run, but always just trying to keep my eyes downfield, look back, looking for a tight end or receiver coming across, and here comes Tony out of the backfield and threw it to him, and then he went and got a lot more than the play that I made. So almost scored. I guarantee if he realizes there's a guy to the right that he does score. But huge play, big play in the game.
This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys.
More with David Moore here on the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. He always brings the energy, David Moore does here. Let's take a look around the NFC East. And when you look back at last week, going into the weekend last week, the Cowboys had a chance to be 3 games out in the NFC East by the end of that Monday night game against the Chargers, which they won. Of course, the Eagles lost at the Jets. Well, when the Cowboys returned to work here at the Star on Monday, they could be a half game out in the NFC East because the Eagles play the Dolphins on Sunday night.
Yeah, again, when you focus on the team in your market and look at their schedule, you talk about how difficult it is without a lot of times factoring in what the opponents have to face. And yes, Philadelphia coming off a poor performance for them, now going against a Miami team, very high-powered offense, that's going to create issues for them. And then you look at their schedule later in the year. Yeah, I mean, Dallas was facing the very real prospect of being 3 back, but certainly they felt they would be 2 back. And now, not only with the Eagles' loss, I know we're focusing on the division, but with San Francisco's loss, Dallas is really still poised to do what it needs to do going forward.
That's just the way it works in this league.
Yeah.
But Mike McCarthy talks about breaking down the season into trimesters. Mm-hmm. You look at the next trimester, there are 6 games in the span of 33 days, and then you get the Eagles after that, and we all know what faces the Cowboys leading up to that last month of the season, where they've got to play the Eagles, the Bills, and the Dolphins and the Lions for the last 5 games. Well, the Eagles face that leading up to the Cowboy game, that same type schedule.
Yeah, and that's why when you're breaking it into trimesters, it's imperative that the Cowboys stash as many victories as they can in the second trimester. And you mentioned it because you look at over these next 7 games or so, they really need to win 6 to kind of keep position when you look at what that December schedule could be and project it out. This is where the loss to Arizona earlier in the season takes away some of your cushion, right? Before you could say, well, as long as you get 5 of the 7, now with this home stretch, they really need to get 6 of 7, and they've been a very good home team.
And the key for the Cowboys to come out of this bye week and rack up some victories in a row, what will be the key?
Well, I think it is cleaning some stuff up just offensively. But to me, the biggest thing that came out of the win against the Chargers was in a close game, their key players on both sides of the ball made big plays in key moments to win that game. And every good team has that. And this was the first time this year that Dallas has done that. That's something to build on coming out of the bye.
Well, it will be very interesting coming out of that bye. All right, when we continue here on the Mike McCarthy Show, the coach rejoins us.
Back, pressure coming again, throws it out, intercepted. Gilmore jumped in at the Los Angeles 32, and you can credit the pressure for that one.
Yeah, it was big. It was a lot of back and forth all night, just trying to keep that short-term memory, and was able to make a play at the end, and that's what big-time players do.
Intercepted!
He's a great quarterback. He got a strong arm. He liked to throw the ball a lot. He got some good receivers, so he was able to play tight coverage. They made some plays, we made some plays, and like I said, we made more plays than they did.
This segment was brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
Nature of the beast, getting chips, double teams, slides, and things like that. You just got to be patient, wait for your opportunities.
2nd and 2, Herbert back, rush, hit, sack. We had Micah Parsons got it. Babe and I were just talking during the break, and I said, I've got 0 sacks for the Dallas Cowboys, and that's the first one.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, as the coach rejoins us here. And let's talk a little bit about your defense. And let's start at the end of the game last week against the Chargers. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time moments in game. And you have no more big-time player than Micah Parsons, and the sack of Justin Herbert there on the second to last play. He's so relentless, and he's fighting throughout the entire game. And to get it paid off in that moment in that game was so big.
Oh, definitely. I mean, pass rush is a journey, and there's things that go on during the course of the game, that creates the opportunity to set things up. And, Micah delivered, clearly. That was a huge play, and then take it a step further. Stephon delivers and puts the game away. But yes, we feel very, very confident putting our defense in that situation, and clearly we feel that plays to our strength.
And that's where I was going next with Stephon Gilmore with the game-sealing interception. We talked about Brandon Cooks earlier in the show, and Stephon, here's 2 key veteran off-season acquisitions that you made. Have they even impressed you more once you've been around them and their impact on the rest of the team in the locker room than what you might have imagined when you acquired?
I think everything in this game, you always look at results and the production, is really what people just clearly look at. But the impact that they've made as veterans, I think they've come in here really connected to the culture of our football team. They're obviously the respect that they carry in the locker room. The thing I've always been so impressed with is when veteran leadership, applies, the knowledge and experience to the younger players, and both those guys have been awesome.
And speaking of one of your younger players, Deron Bland, already has had in his rookie year with 5 picks and filling in so well for the loss of Trayvon, made a couple of huge plays in clutch situations in that game against the Chargers last week.
Oh, absolutely, and I just think like anything, you talk about a second-year jump. He's an excellent picture of that. Obviously had a lot of success in his rookie season with his opportunities. But it's fun to watch him go through the process of now how people are trying to attack him. He's on film and just so consistent in his work ethic and his approach. So the DB's having a very good year.
Yeah, speaking of fun, there's a fun player that people are getting an opportunity to see this year. He's number 14, Marquise Bell.
Oh, yeah.
And here's a guy who is a safety, finds out before the season due to the injury to DeMarvion Overshown. He gets moved to linebacker, and he just jumped off the tape last week against the Chargers.
Absolutely. I mean, he's delivered on every opportunity. The old saying, opportunity knocks. You have to deliver, and he has done that. First, with his opportunity on special teams. Obviously playing in a very deep secondary with the veteran safeties, and now he steps up to the linebacker line and has just played very, very well. So impressed. I think he'll probably be our game ball winner on defense.
Yeah, great choice there. I wonder who the unsung star of the week will be.
Can't wait.
We're going to find out here when the Mike McCarthy Show continues in a moment.
This segment was brought to you by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
Final couple minutes here of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. This is the moment in time where I make my Unsung Star selection of the week. I have one in mind, but you mentioned in the break, there's a guy named Brian Schottenheimer who turned 50 this past week. Yeah, that is a huge birthday. So I'm going to put him alongside my Unsung Star of the Week.
That's nice here.
The Unsung Star of the Week is the offensive play caller. And here's why.
I'd go with Schottenheimer.
No, here's why. It's the call sheet. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
All right. I'm watching you during the game, and you're making calls, and as you're making calls, then you're lifting, you lift the call sheet up. Does it go through your mind as you are making the calls with the headset on and so forth that, I got to cover my lips?
Oh, absolutely, because I've been given a minus grade in covering up my lips. I always talk to my parents the day of the game, and my mother right away was on me. She says, I had 6 people at church come up to me and say, Michael needs to cover up his mouth. He says, they can read his lips. So that's how our conversation started Monday morning. So I was definitely conscientious of it. But on the flip side, now the font is too big on the call sheet, so we got to know. So something's got to give. So
that's right.
We have work to do.
It's like you need to hire someone to stand in front of you, so that the TV camera doesn't pick you up.
Well, I'm going to listen to my mother first, so I'm not going to worry about the font.
That's right.
That's for sure.
Well, you got great reviews this week because you're making great progress. You're getting it up there just in time where the people can't read. And you got to watch out for it too. These big screens in stadiums these days. I mean,
I can't tell you how many text messages that I received after the game, and again Tuesday morning with the pictures from the TV, and you can see, obviously the call sheet. So we need to address it.
All right, that's something to work on here during the bye week. For Mike McCarthy, I'm Bill Jones. We appreciate you joining us here for the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, was brought to you by blockchain.com. Trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.